Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, deck number 450, that's right, we're halfway through the 400 block. That's awesome. We're going to talk about Omnath. Now, Omnath, this is the third time we've seen him, and apparently every time we see him, they're going to add a different color to him, so that's cool. I can't wait for version 6.0. But Omnath, Locus of Roil this time, enters the battlefield. It deals damage to any target, equal number of elementals you control. Well, that's cool. That kind of screams elemental theme. But it's got a landfall ability of put a 1/1 counter on target elemental you control. It's just one. And then if you control 8 or more lands, you can draw a card. So it's part elemental, part landfall. So that's kind of where I went. But I'll admit, I kind of leaned a little harder on the elemental side of it. So, I guess first things first, let's look at our ramp, if you will, and there is quite a bit of it. Artifact-wise, you know, there's a couple clue stones, the banner, and a talisman. Any more rocks in here? No. Okay. Then, I mean, we are playing green, and anytime there's, you play multicolor, there's and green's one of them, you tend to have things like rampant growth, tempt with discovery, Nissa's pilgrimage, colony hydra, or I'm sorry, colony hard expedition, X-Veg, Harrow. But now I am also running Veteran Explorer because, number one, yes, he does ramp early, but if you draw him late, you also get a double landfall trigger. Yeah, there's the downside of helping everybody else, but I don't think that's as detrimental as... Then we have elementals. Fertile, it is an elemental. I mean, we use him a lot because he's great in +1 counter decks. And, Omnath could certainly throw a counter on him. You're only getting one counter on one creature, so it's not like you're going to just buff something completely with Omnath. We have Leafkin Druid. Hey, a lot of times this is just going to produce 2 mana. Now, I put the Banneret in there because it just makes all of our elementals cheaper. And Smoke Braider, this is one heck of a mana guy right here. I mean, it's 2, any color, to play elementals. And while, yes, we'll go ahead and show the Primal Beyond because we all know it's in there, right? What other decks are we really rocking our Primal Beyonds in? I was thrilled that it actually got a home again. So let's look at, I guess we'll do card draw next. Ramp, card draw, those are the... Anticipate for a little filtering. Urban Evolution is exactly where we want to be in drawing cards and dropping more lands. Now, I didn't go like the 2 mana versions because I really like to draw 3 cards. Tormenting Voice, Distant Melody, since we are obviously tribal, and Double Meat, Double Cheese, Rites of Flourishing. So, I'm going to roll through these elementals. A lot of them are just... Oh, I'm sorry. Chandra's Embercat is kind of a mana dork as well, just only to play elemental spells or Chandra's. So we got a couple of those in here. We'll get to those. But let's look at our elementals. I'll talk about the ones that are, worth talking about. Divine Mare, love that the black can't block it. Ivy Elemental, Thorn Elemental. Now this Lightning Stormkin's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's Flying Haste, but 2 mana 2/2, that's not bad. Creeping Trailblazer. The Thicket Crasher is sweet, passing out Trample to all of the elementals, so our entire team. Lavakin Brawler, given +1 for each elemental you control. That's pretty neat. Now, I like the Living Tsunami, because the Living Tsunami, the downside, the drawback, if you will, I think is an upside with this deck because, unless you return a land to your hand, well, that gives us another landfall trigger in a time where we wouldn't normally have it. Obsidian Fireheart. I love the I love that the reminder text is trinket text, if you will. The land continues to burn. Of course, the Flamekin Harbinger, kind of a tutor. Awakener, Cyclone Sire. Yeah, that turns a land into an elemental, so that's pretty neat. Cloud Elementals, just to flyers. Risen Reef, because it's probably the best card in the deck, to be honest with you. Undergrowth Champion, Wakered Elemental, Woodland Wanderer, and yeah, I did the Air Elemental, and I did actually go back to get the oldest version I had, which was this unlimited one. I didn't have an alpha or beta, but I don't know. There's something old school about that art that's just refreshing. And hey, white border. Geyser Glider. Morrow, because, hey, why not? Supreme Exemplar, because we all want 10/10 flyers, right? Champion Elemental, sure. Spawn Wraith, making all the copies. Incandescent Soulstoke. This is the one that went crazy. The Elemental Champion. Not bad. Living Twister. Overgrowth Elemental. Now we've got a few cards here that are not per se elementals, but they kind of are. Call the Skybreaker. Now this one, I don't know. This card's kind of on the edge for me. It may or may not stay, simply because this encourages you to discard the lands. But I've got it in there because I actually kind of want to discard the lands. Okay. We'll go ahead and get to it. You know why? Because we're running the Crucible. And with the Crucible, so I've got, I'm making these 5/5 elementals by dropping a land. And now I can use the Crucible to play those lands, so I'm just getting, 5/5s. Pretty sweet, right? It also lets me kind of abuse the Blast Zone to keep getting it back, right? Well, so at this point I'm already running Crucible and, ways to use and abuse Crucible. So that's about kind of the only way that I'm going to be running a Lotus Field, because I like the field. I think it is just as good as the Veil. They are both different. Now, granted, see, the Lotus Veil, you have to sacrifice 2 untapped lands, and it comes into play untapped. However, this one comes into play tapped, but you can sacrifice 2 tapped lands, so you get to use those lands. The Veil, the lands had to be untapped that you sacked, untapped, therefore, useful. But this one, you can use the 2 lands, and then 4 mana, and then drop this. Yes, you're out the 2 lands, but you still got to use them that turn. So, I don't know. And with the additional hexproof, I kind of like the field better than the Veil. More importantly, I love the fact that they're not scared to kind of give the finger to the reserve list, because if they're not going to break the reserve list, sure, just make better versions. I want original snow duels, or snow fetches, or snow shocks. That's what I want. But anyway, so I've got Lotus Field in there now, and the Crucible. So I was like, well, it'd be really cool to have me a 9/9 hexproof land that's also an elemental. Yeah. But anyway, back to the roll here. Eyes of the Wizened. Plays a blue spell. Now, I would have almost run Choke in this, but you know what? We're playing blue too, so I didn't want to hose out islands. And then we have, of course, Zendikar's Roil. It ties in greatly. It has landfall and it produces elementals. So that's a thing that we want to do. Hey, you know what other land is really, really good for landfall abilities? A lot of people are unfamiliar with Undiscovered Paradise, but it has the drawback, if you will, of going back to your hand every turn. Hold on, so you mean I can guarantee myself a landfall trigger every single turn? This sounds like something I want to be a part of. The new Icon of Ancestry, Roar of the Crowd, and I've got Big Chandra, or Big M20 Chandra, and then Little M20 Chandra. We're going to round it out, of course, here with a regrowth and then some removal. Return to Nature is, of course, just a better naturalize. Broken Bond. Deglamour, because sometimes things are indestructible and you just still need to get rid of them. Just shuffle it away. Counterspell and Deprive. Now, Deprive would normally be that negate slot. Since this is 3 colors, you know, I've got 2 double blue counters in here, and I just, but Deprive has the drawback of putting a land back in your hand, so you get that other landfall trigger. So when you replay that land, so that was kind of neat. And now I've got the non-basic lands. You know, the Terramorphic and the Evolving also work fairly decent with the Crucible. You know, they're poor man fetches, but that's what I've got. The Baalvac, Promenade, Stream, Falls, of course the Gate. Bounce lands, love the bounce lands in here simply because we get more landfall triggers. That's why, you know, I'm running the Growth Chamber and the Boiler Works. We got some Gruul action, the Highlands, Gorge, Cliffs, Izzet, Kazandu, and then the Temple. And then rounded out with, I had enough of the foil basics because, let's face it, the you know, the bundle packs now are coming with a 20 block of foil basics of M20, so it's a real thing. Well, that is what I have got for Omnath. I don't know, I called the red-green one Omnasty. A lot of people call it Angry Omnath. So what are we calling this guy? I guess just Locus of the Roil. I don't know. So we're going to put Mr. Omnath up, and that is, we are halfway there. I think I have to, because my cord system is radically different now. I've got to do this number to put it up on the wall. So there we go. We're finishing up another line. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we are going to shuffle and cut. And hey, let me know what you think about the new setup here. I say the new setup. I'm recording approximately 6 feet from where I was recording previously. I don't know if it's any better or any worse, or if y'all like it anymore. Just let me know. Thank you so much.